Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So as we were discussing yesterday, the laws of falling bodies, we already got to know what are the first and second laws are. First law, we went through the explanation also, but the second law, I think you need a little bit more of explanation, okay? So if you can recall, the second law was for a freely falling body, the velocity is proportional to the time, right? The velocity was proportional to the time. So from here, what we could say, if the time is doubled, the velocity will also be doubled. If the time becomes 4 times, the velocity will also become 4 times. Okay. So now from here, okay, what we can write? V is equal to kt. We know that whenever we want to replace this proportional sign by an equal sign, we have to introduce a constant of proportionality, right? This k is a constant of proportionality. Please remember. Let me write it down for you. Constant of proportionality. Okay. So this k is a constant of proportionality. Now, what we can do, we can apply this equation for different situations. Let us say for a particular value of p1, we have the velocity v1. So we can write this equation v1 is equal to k t1. Now let us say we have changed the time. So as we have brought a change in time, the velocity will also be changed. So let us say when the time is t2, the velocity is v2. So according to this equation, what should be the relation between them? v2 should be equal to k t2. Okay, so likewise, we can take so many equations like for t3, the velocity is v3. Let us means I'm changing the time. So with time, we know that the velocity will also change, right? So that is why we can write, several equations like this. But what I wanted to show you, for that only two equations is enough. Let us consider this one as equation 1 and this one as equation 2. So if I write equation 2 divided by equation 1, what I wrote? Equation 2 divided by equation 1. So I can write v2 divided by v1, right? Because equation 2 is v2 and then divided by equation 1, that is v1. So we have written the left hand side. What about the right hand side? Right hand side will be equal to kt2. kt2 divided by right hand side of equation 1, kt1. So k and k, we can cancel them. Then this equation will become v2 by v1 is equal to t2 by t1. Okay, this is a very important equation. Please take note. While you are taking note of it, put it in a box so that while you are revising it, you understand that this is the special equation that you need to remember from all these explanations. Okay, these are explanations. This you don't have to memorize because you will never be asked to write this explanation in the exam, inshallah. But this equation you will be in need to use while you are solving the numerical problems, okay, mathematical problems. While when you go to solve the mathematical problems, you will need to use this equation. So for that, you need to keep this equation in your mind, okay? So, so v2 divided by v1 is equal to t2 divided by t1. Now, as I told you already yesterday, that when the time becomes double, the velocity becomes double. How to prove that from this equation? Can we prove it? Yes, we can. I will show you. Okay. So what I said, the time has become double. That means the time, the new time, t2, will be double of the previous time. That is what we mean by the time has become double. Previously it was any value, then it became double. That means the new time will be double of the previous one. So if I replace this value over there, then it will be v2 by v1 is equal to, see, instead of t2, I can write 2t1, and in the denominator, it will be t1. So t1 and t1, they will get cancelled, and as a result, what I can do, v v2 by v1 will be equal to, oh sorry, I can actually cross multiply from here. v1, I will change the side of it. So v1 is divided over here. So if I change the side, it will be multiplied with 2v1. So now you can see that the velocity, the new velocity has also become double. It is the double of the previous one. So you see, whatever number you put over here, the same number you are going to get here. So if I say the time has become 4 times, you will see that the velocity will also become 4 times. So it is proved what we said yesterday, that the time and the velocity, they both change, in proportion, in the same proportion. If one becomes 4 times, other one will also become 4 times. Okay. These are all explanation of what I said. Okay. To, so that we can believe it, that it should not be like that. I told you that it will become double, other one will also become double. It should not be like that, that I will tell you and you will believe. There must be some explanation, right? So this is the proof that if one becomes 4 times, the other one also becomes 4 times. Okay. So this is the second law. Now we will take a look at the third law. Okay. বিজয় মাত্র ক্লাস জয়েন করতে যাচ্ছে। So I will write the third law on the board. Then, okay. So let us go through it. The distance traveled by a freely falling body. At first, let us try to understand what we mean by the distance traversed. Okay. Traverse means, I already told you, that travel. Okay. The distance travel. So when I leave a body from a certain height, what will happen? From its previous position, it will start to cover some distance. As it is falling down, it will start to cover some distance. How I can find that distance? That has a relationship with the time taken. Okay. See, from here, if I let it fall, after 1 second, it will be at some point. After 2 seconds, it will be at another point. So you see, with time, it is covering some distance. What is the relationship between this distance covered and the time taken for it? Okay. So it is directly proportional to the square of the time. Okay. The height, this is not actually height, this is distance covered. Okay. This distance covered is directly proportional to the square of the time taken. Okay. So if I want to put an equal sign instead of this proportional sign, then I need to introduce a constant of proportionality, as I already mentioned in the previous law. Okay. Now we can apply this situation or this equation for different conditions. Let us say when the time was t1, the distance covered was h1. So I can write h1 is equal to kt1 square according to this equation. Then again, if the time has become t2 now and the distance covered has become h2, then I can write h2 is equal to kt2 square. So I have considered the first one to be equation 1 and the second one equation 2. Like the previous one, equation 2 divided by equation 1, if I write it in this way, h2 by h1 is equal to kt2 square divided by kt1 square. So k and k, they will get cancelled, and as a result, we will get h2 by h1 is equal to t2 square by t1 square. Simple algebra. You have already learned, right? Now, what does this mean? Previously, we saw that when the time became double, the velocity became double. Is it the same case here also? Can anybody tell me? Let me, see who can answer this question. If the time becomes double, how much the distance covered will become? Can anybody tell me? I will tell you the question again. If the time becomes double, t becomes double, how much the distance covered will become? Will it also become double?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
So you are saying time has become double, so the distance covered will also become double. Okay.
Double.
Anybody?
Yeah.
Opinion?
Sir, it will not become double.
Nobody has any different opinion? Think about it in this way. If this relationship was like this, that h is proportional to t, then okay, we could have said if the time becomes double, the distance covered will also become double. But is there any difference over here?
Oh yeah, there is we can say power is there too.
Square, right? So whole
Yeah, yeah.
square will not make any difference.
Of course, it
From
will make
time
difference.
becomes double, the cover distance becomes double. But here the equation are a little bit different. So won't it affect the fact, you know,
Mm, uh,
let us try to understand, okay? Let us try to understand through the equation. So this is the equation that you need to keep it in your mind as I have boxed it, okay? So whenever you are revising, especially revise this boxed equation because this you need to use for solving the numerical problem, okay? So now we will try to understand, in this case, if the time becomes double, how much the covered distance will become. Let us try to understand this one, okay? Through the same calculation that we carried out a little bit ago. What I said, the time has become double of the previous one. So let us see what happens now. We will put this in that equation. So H2 divided by H1 will be equal to, see, T2 will be replaced by 2T1. Now there will be whole square plus T2 square. T2 is replaced by 2T1 and there is, so we will put a square here also, divided by T1 square. So now H2 by H1 is equal to 2 square is 4. 4 T1 square divided by T1 square. So T1 square, T1 square, they will cancel each other. Now this H1 can be cross multiplied. So if you cross multiply, what are you going to get? H2 is equal to 4H1. That means the height of the covered distance has become 4 times. It has become how much? 4 times.
4 times.
Alif has written, sir, 2.2 হইতে পারে না? Sorry, 2 into 2 হইতে পারে না? You know, 2 square can be written as 2 into 2. No problem. Okay, it means the same. Okay, so did you see the difference here? The time is becoming double and the height is becoming 4 times. So can I write it better to show it in this way, I guess? Okay, so টাইমটা যত টাইমস হবে মানে 2 টাইমস হয়ে গেছে তাইলে হাইট হয়ে যাবে 2 স্কয়ার টাইমস। এটাই হচ্ছে সিগনিফিক্যান্স এখানে ওই যে স্কয়ারটা। খেয়াল করো, টাইমটা যদি 2 টাইমস হয়ে যায় তাহলে হাইট 2 স্কয়ার টাইমস হয়ে যাবে, কারণ এটার উপর একটা স্কয়ার আছে এখানে। আন্ডারস্টুড? তার মানে আমি যদি এখন টাইমটাকে 3 টাইমস করি তাহলে the height will become 3 square times. 3 square means 3 into 3, that is 9. So the height will become 9 times. If the time becomes 4 times, then this height or the covered, sorry, I'm saying
16.
it doesn't mean actually height, this means the covered distance. Okay, so the covered distance will become 16 times because 16 is the square of 4. Okay, so এখানে
Yeah.
আমরা এটা বলতে পারবো না যে মানে টাইম ডাবল হয়ে গেলে হাইটও সরি কভার ডিসটেন্সও ডাবল হয়ে যাবে। নো, ওকে, এটা স্কয়ার করতে হবে because it is proportional to the square of the time, not directly proportional to the time itself. So please be very careful, okay? এখান থেকে এই এমসিকিউটা আসতে পারে। For a freely falling body, if you triple the time, triple means if you make the time 3 times, then the covered distance will become 3 square times
9 times.
9
Yeah,
times.
9 times.
Okay. Okay, so we are done with the laws of falling bodies. Everyone, please
Sir,
mute your. Yes,
I did not understand, sir. Can you
which
explain
part?
again, please?
Multiple.
That one, 3 times, 2 times.
Multiple. I'll show you. Should I write the whole derivation again?
No, sir, that part only you can explain that.
Okay.
3 into 2.
Divided by h1 is equal to t2 square divided by t1 square. This equation I developed inside the box you saw, right? The development of the equation you understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so after that I need to explain that how it becomes 4 times or 3 times. Okay, so I will show it for different situations. Let us say for this case the time has become double. So as already I have shown that if it becomes double, then the height has becomes 4 times. So let us say this time it has become 3 times. Okay. So h2 divided by h1 equal to this t2 will be replaced by 3t1. So 3t1 whole square divided by t1 square. So h2 divided by h1 is equal to 9 t1 square divided by t1 square. So t1 square they will cancel each other. Now if you cross multiply, you will see that the new height is 9 times of the previous height. That means the height has become 9 times. When the time becomes 3 times, the covered distance becomes 9 times. Now let us repeat the calculation for let us say when the time becomes 4 times. Now let us repeat the calculation. h2 by h1 is equal to, so this t2 now will be replaced by 4t1. So t2 square will be written as 4t1 square divided by t1 square. Everyone please mute yourself, because yesterday what I saw that when you are not muted, it's hard for you to listen to me. Okay, so please if you have any question, you may raise your hand and then I will ask you to unmute yourself. Okay, if you raise your hand, I can see it here. uh, those who joined new, like Mariam, she joined new. I don't know whether she already knows or not. Raising hand doesn't mean that in front of camera you will raise your hand, because I cannot see anyone. In the Zoom, there is an option to raise hand. Okay, I hope everybody knows. So this 4 square, it will be 16 t1 square divided by t1 square. So t1 square, t1 square I will cancel, and if I cross multiply now, so h2 will be equal to 16 h1. So as you can see, when the time has become 4 times, the covered distance has become the square of that. That means 4 square is 16, so it has become 16 times. Is it clear now? Should I show it for when the time becomes 5 times?
No need, sir. I understood.
Okay, very good, mashallah. Always ask question. Okay, whenever you have any doubt, let me know. I will try to explain it twice, thrice. Okay, how much I will need. You know, about this issue, I wanted to share one of my experience. You know, in my college, there was a teacher. Okay, there are so many teachers, but I would like to talk about this particular teacher. He was explaining something. Now, the way he is explaining, I'm not getting the point. I'm not getting the topic. Okay. So when I asked him to explain again, he explained again in the similar way. I didn't understand again. And then I asked him, sir, still I did not get. So he explained again. And still I did not get, because he was explaining the same way. So if he is following the same way, then in that way, I'm not being able to understand. So it doesn't matter whether he explained 1 time or 100 times, I will never get. Correct? He has to
Yes,
change
sir.
it. So whenever you have a particular doubt, okay, let us say you did not understand what I just taught. So what you should do is you should let me know, sir, eta bujhi nahi, arekbar bujhan. So I will try again, maybe in the similar way. Abaro jodi similar way te na bujo, then I will try in some other way. ওইভাবে যদি আমি তোমাকে না বুঝতে পারি, let us say I have tried all my cards that I have, but still you did not get the point. No problem. Still it is your duty to let me know that, sir, আমি এখনো বুঝিনি। যতক্ষণ বুঝবে না ততক্ষণ পর্যন্ত আমাকে ছাড়বা না। ওকে, এটা হচ্ছে কথা। বিকজ আমি যদি তোমাদেরকে ফাইনালি মনে করো কোনোভাবেই বুঝতে পারলাম না, তাইলে অন্য কাউকে না কাউকে স্কুল এখানে ম্যানেজ করে দিবে যে তোমাদেরকে এটা বুঝাবে। লাইক নট লাইক টিচার চেঞ্জ আর কি। মনে করো আমাদের প্রিন্সিপাল ম্যাডাম, উনি হচ্ছে ফিজিক্স টিচার, উনি ফিজিক্সে পিএইচডি, ওনার নাম ডক্টর সারিজা আলী। শি ইজ নট এমবিবিএস ডক্টর, মানে ডাক্তার না। Doctor means she has
Yes.
completed PhD on physics. So she can come and explain. Maybe ওই টপিকটা তোমরা ওনার কাছে ভালো বুঝবা, হইতেই পারে এরকম, তাই না? এটাতে এরকম কেউ মানে প্লিজ কেউ এরকম মনে করবে না যে আই উইল গেট হার্ট। ওকে, নো প্রবলেম। না বুঝলে বলবো আমাকে। আমার এক্সপ্লেনেশন যে সবাই বুঝবে, নট লাইক দ্যাট। সবার কথা সবাই বুঝতে পারে না। তো তোমাদের দায়িত্ব হচ্ছে কি, যতক্ষণ পর্যন্ত বুঝবা না ততক্ষণ পর্যন্ত খালি বলতে থাকবে যে স্যার বুঝিনি, স্যার বুঝিনি, স্যার বুঝিনি। ঠিক আছে, এটা বলতেই থাকবা।
জি স্যার।
তারপরে
জি।
স্কুলের দায়িত্ব তোমাকে বুঝানোটা ম্যানেজ করার জন্য। বাট এখানে একটা কথা আছে, এই যে তোমাদেরকে এই অপরচুনিটিটা দিলাম যে না বুঝলে যতবার বুঝবা না ততবার বুঝি নাই বলতে পারবা। sometimes I find some students taking bad advantage or negative advantage of it. Some student wants to harass a particular teacher. So what he or she will do, even though he understood, he will say, I did not understand. So I have been a student myself. So I understand when the students are doing that. So I don't do it with me. বলে না যে একটা চোর আরেকটা চোরের মাইন্ড বুঝতে পারে। So I was a thief myself. ঠিক আছে? So আমি বুঝবো যে তোমরা কি কোন মাইন্ড দিয়ে কি বলতেছো। So kindly don't try it at least on me. Okay? It will not work, inshallah. And আবার আরেকটা জিনিস হচ্ছে কি যে মাঝে মাঝে দেখা যায় তোমরা আসলে কনসেন্ট্রেশনে দিচ্ছ না। ঠিক আছে? আমি হয়তো একটা জিনিস বুঝাচ্ছি, তুমি যদি একটু কনসেন্ট্রেশন দিয়ে শুনতা তাইলে হয়তো তুমি বুঝে যেতা। বাট তুমি কনসেন্ট্রেশন দিচ্ছ না জাস্ট বিকজ ইউ ওয়ান্ট টু হ্যারাস মি। তো সেরকমও দয়া করে করিও না, ওকে? এটা শুধুমাত্র যে তোমার লস হবে তা না, তোমার ফুল ক্লাসের, তোমার মানে যারা ক্লাস পার্টনার, মানে ক্লাসমেট সরি, তাদের সবার লস হচ্ছে। ঠিক আছে? তোমাদের মধ্যে অনেকেই হয়তো বা এরকম আছো যারা বিভিন্ন জায়গায় হয়তো টিউশন করতে যেতে পারো, তোমরা হয়তো না হয় সেখানে বুঝে ফেলবা, কিন্তু তোমার ক্লাসমেটদের মধ্যে এমন কেউ আছে যাদের মনে করো বাহরাইনে জাস্ট লিভিং কস্টটা ম্যানেজ করতে কষ্ট হচ্ছে, দে ক্যান নট থিঙ্ক অ্যাবাউট গোয়িং টু সাম টিউশন। তো ওদের কথা থিঙ্ক করে আমি চেষ্টা করি ক্লাসের মধ্যে যতটুকু সম্ভব আমি যে সাবজেক্টটা পড়াচ্ছি এই সাবজেক্টটা এমন ভাবে পড়াতে যাতে ওইটার জন্য কোনো টিউশন ওদেরকে না দিতে হয়। আমি ট্রাই করি, যদিও এটা সবসময় পসিবল হয় না, বাট তো এখন তুমি যদি একটা কোশ্চেন বারবার আমাকে জাস্ট হ্যারাস করার জন্য বারবার জিজ্ঞেস করে এবং রিপিট করতে বলো, তখন আসলে দেখা যাবে কি জানো, ক্লাসের যে টাইমটা নষ্ট হবে সেটা তোমার কোনো লস হবে না, বিকজ তুমি টিউশনে পড়ে ফেলবে কারোর কাছে, বাট তোমার যে ক্লাসমেটটা টিউশন করতে পারতেছে না তার জন্য কিন্তু এটা মানে এমন একটা লস যেটা মানে সে আর কভার করতে পারবে না। কি বলতে বুঝতে পারছো? So try to be human, try to be considerate, try to be kind and understanding, okay? Only say you did not understand when you have made sure that you have concentrated to your best and still you could not understand. That time inform me, I will explain again, no problem. But এখানে অন্য কোনো নেগেটিভ অ্যাডভান্টেজ নেওয়ার চেষ্টা করিও না, okay? The thing is,
Okay, sir.
I used to be a little bit angry person in the past, okay? আমি জানি না তোমরা আসলে আমার কথা কতটুকু শুনছো, বাট আগে স্কুলে আসলে মানে অনেক রাগ ছিল আর কি। নাও আই এম ট্রাইং টু কন্ট্রোল ইট, ওকে? বিকজ ইসলাম ডিসকারেজেস দিস অ্যাঙ্গার। তো এই কারণে যেটা হয় কি, মানে অনেক সময় অনেক কিছু বলি না, যদিও বুঝি যে স্টুডেন্টরা আসলে কি করতেছে, তারপরে অনেক সময় অনেক কিছু বলি না বা অ্যাভয়েড ইগনোর করার চেষ্টা করি। তো তোমরাও যদি একটা লিমিটের মধ্যে থাকো, নাইসলি চলো, ইট উইল বি ওকে। যে 2টা বছর তোমাদেরকে পড়াবো ইনশাল্লাহ। এখন তো গ্রেড 9-এ শুধু ফিজিক্স পড়াচ্ছি, গ্রেড 10-এ গেলে ইনশাল্লাহ আমি তোমাদের 2টা সাবজেক্টের ক্লাস পাবো, সেটা হচ্ছে ফিজিক্স হায়ার ম্যাথ ইনশাল্লাহ, ইফ এভরিথিং গোজ ওয়েল। এটাই হয় আর কি প্রতি বছর। তো নাইসলি যাবে 2টা বছর, ঠিক আছে? বাট এখানে যদি আমার সাথে একটু ট্রিক করার চেষ্টা করো এবং আনলাকিলি ফর ইউ যদি আমি এটা ধরে ফেলি, তাহলে এটা ভালো হবে না। সুন্দর ভাষায় যতটুকু নাইসলি বোঝানো সম্ভব বুঝাইলাম, ওকে? তো ভালোভাবে থাকো, উই উইল বি বেস্ট ফ্রেন্ডস ইনশাআল্লাহ, ওকে? তোমাদের ক্লাসে বোধহয় আমি একবার গেছিলাম, গ্রেড তোমরা তখন 6-এ ছিল আই গেস। আই রিমেম্বার শাহিদ ওয়াজ দেয়ার। অন্য আর কারো কথা আমার খুব একটা মনে নেই, বাট শাহিদ ওয়াজ দেয়ার,
জি
আই
স্যার।
রিমেম্বার।
স্যার আমাদের ক্লাস
আপনি কার্ডস আপনি আপনি কার্ডসে খেলা খেলিয়েছেন মনে আছে?
দেন তারপর আমি তোমাদেরকে বলতেছিলাম যে হাউ মাই রিলেশনশিপ ইজ উইথ মাই স্টুডেন্টস। এখন আমি আমার স্টুডেন্টদের সাথে সুইমিং পুলে সুইমিং করতে যাই, ক্রিকেট খেলি, অনেক মজা করি, হ্যাং আউট করি, ঠিক আছে? তো দ্যাটস বিকজ ইউ নো দে আর দ্য ওয়ে দ্য স্টুডেন্টস আর সাপোজ টু বি, সো আই বি ফ্রেন্ডলি উইথ দেম। তো তোমরাও যদি এরকম হও, আই উইল বি ফ্রেন্ডলি উইথ ইউ অলসো, এখানে কোনো হার্ট ফিলিংস আসবে না। বাট অনেকেই তোমরা একটু দুষ্টামি করার চেষ্টা করো, ইটস ওকে, স্টুডেন্ট লাইফে তোমরা দুষ্টামি করবেই, but that should be within a limit, that should not cross it, okay? So I hope you people are matured enough, and the impression that I got till now, even though I did not get to see you personally, but the impression till now that I got from you, it's good. Alhamdulillah, you are very good students, all of you. Okay, so a minute, I need to bring them. Okay, so as you remember, we already went through the equations of motion. 4 equations of motion we studied, right? That is v equal to u plus at, s equal to u plus v divided by 2 into t, that's equal to ut plus half a t square, and v square is equal to u square plus 2as. We already went through these equations and we saw how these equations were derived or proved, right? Now we are going to apply the same equations for falling bodies, how they will look like. See, for a falling body, the first equation will become v equal to u plus gt. Okay, I think at first I should write that we are going to replace which one with what?
Sir, the
Sir,
time finished, I guess.
Can you give me 2 more minutes?
Yeah, we can.
okay,
Sure,
okay, sir.
you
Okay.
can.
A will be replaced by G. A is acceleration, right? Now for a falling
Yes.
body, the acceleration is acceleration due to gravity. So A will be replaced by G. Then this S will be replaced by H. H is the covered distance for a falling body. Okay, I guess rest are okay. So if we just replace these two, then these four equations will become H is equal to U plus V divided by 2 into T. And the third equation will become H is equal to UT plus half GT square. And V square is equal to U square plus 2GH. Okay, so these are the four equations of motion for a falling body. Whenever we are talking about a body that is running, let us say we are talking about a car. The car is running on the road. It is not a falling body. So we will be using this equation for that car. But if we have some body falling from a certain height, then we will use one of these equations for that problem. Okay, so thank you very much. We will see you in the next class, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.